Welcome, one and all, to a brand new show I am calling Weird Soda Hour because I have made it a bit in my videos to have a weird soda on me, and that has caused me to have a bit of a backup of weird sodas because I don't actually record on camera that often. I've been doing a lot of stuff that doesn't involve appearing on camera. So I've got like a backlog of weird sodas just sitting in the fridge that I kind of need to knock out. So I am doing a completely unscripted series where I talk about whatever the hell strikes my fancy that day. Christ, you can really see this noise the bottle was making. I don't know when I'm going to get around to editing this. I don't know when this is going to come out. I don't know if I'll edit this. This might be... It's going to be very minimal editing. This is almost certainly a second channel series. So thank you for tuning in to the Matining. This is for the loyal subscribers. And I'm just going to drink a weird soda and talk about shit, you know? I didn't introduce the soda at all. This is Town Club Black Cherry soda, which I got like last year when I was in Michigan. It tastes pretty good. It also tastes like I kind of left it in the fridge for a year. But actually, that's still pretty good. Like, for how long it's been in there, that's pretty good. I just realized I didn't change out of like my pajama shirt. I'm gonna put on like an outfit actually. There we go. Put on like an outfit to appear on camera, maybe. Dress up a little, look a little nice. Wear something that ties into the theme a little. So I guess I should explain where the weird soda bit comes from. It's just I drink a lot of weird soda. I like weird soda. I like soda. So I had, at the time I was starting Matt's Fun Time Bad Movie Show, I had a lot of weird soda. And I just decided it would be a bit early on that I would start every episode by drinking a weird soda. And that has leaked into my other projects because, again, I don't appear on camera very often, so I have to get my drinks in while I can. But this series is going to help with that. This series is going to help me cut down on some of the excessive sodas I have in my fridge. And today I have decided my topic is going to be DC Comics. I am just going to ramble about DC Comics for as long as I see fit. Because I, like many of you, watched the new Superman movie over the summer, and it has absolutely reignited my interest in the DC universe. Cause like I think about like the superheroes I have like real connection to, the superheroes I like really care about a lot. And it's like I feel like I care about everyone in DC. I love the DC universe. Where Marvel, it's like Spider-Man, X-Men, and like Deadpool and Punisher. And thinking about it, it's almost entirely like the stuff that I was exposed to a lot as a child. Like when I was growing up, when I was like just the right age to like be interested in superheroes. It was when the Justice League show was running on television. I didn't watch that show, but I had friends who had like Justice League themed parties. I had like a Justice League cup at my house, like a plastic cup with the Justice League on it. I grew up near the original Six Flags Over Texas. They always had like DC characters out there. So I feel very connected to the DC universe because I was exposed to like all of it when I was a kid. Where with Marvel, it was like Spider-Man and the X-Men, because like those were the popular movies at the time. But also I just like got my hands on a lot of Spider-Man and X-Men comics. I feel like if I'm being honest, I probably read more Spider-Man comics than like any other superhero. I don't know if I could say that for like absolute certain, but I feel like I have read more Spider-Man comics than any other superhero just because like there were a lot of them at my library as a kid, and I would just read I would read all of them. I would check all of them out from the library. I'm moving the microphone a little bit closer. Not that close. Oops. I don't know you like that. I mean, Deadpool and Punisher were like things I got into later. Deadpool, I've always kind of stood by. I'm like the fans. It's definitely one of those things that got ruined a lot by the fans. But at this point, maybe we can say that about all comic books. Maybe that is not exclusive to Deadpool at this point. But like being the age I am, I naturally had a falling in and out of love with the MCU. I thought it was a really cool concept, and a lot of the early ones were pretty good. Not all of them, but a lot of them. That first Iron Man movie is phenomenal. Just I love that original Iron Man. As it went on, it got harder and harder to bear. And I'm like a big film buff, so I was probably in the camp who got tired of it like way faster than most people. I think, like, Age of Ultron, some part of me knew Age of Ultron sucked, but I don't think I was ready to admit it to myself when that one came out. But, like, by the time Civil War came out, I'm like, no, I don't like the MCU anymore. Like, occasionally they'll drop a good one, but I don't really like the MCU anymore. And I've kind of been like, superhero fatigue, but like, no, I think it's just those guys. I think it's just the MCU. I never really cared about most of the guys in the MCU, and it ran its course, and I don't care anymore. Let's do something with the DC characters, which, like, thank fucking God, James Gunn is doing something worthwhile with the DC characters. Oh my God, I hated the Snyderverse. Oh, if you are a Snyderverse fan, this is not gonna be a ramble you enjoy. I do not like the Snyderverse movies. Well, none of the ones Snyder made, certainly. So I'm really happy DC is in better hands now, and I'm hopeful for the future. I am interested in superhero media again, and it's entirely because it's DC and because I've always preferred DC. I've always liked DC better. I did some I did take some time and I thought about it, and I think I have to agree with my high school self who claimed Aquaman as his favorite superhero. I'm still with him. Aquaman's my favorite superhero. I fucking love Aquaman. He's that like perfect balance of like really goofy in concept, but like occasionally badass in execution. That like is what I love about superheroes, is what I love about superhero media. He's just he gets it right. He hits the nail right on the head. He's got the coolest villain. Black Manta is the coolest fucking... God, I love Black Manta. What a cool fucking villain. Like, there's a reason they just let him be in both of the James Wan movies. That, like, who even cares? We'll just use Black Manta both times because he's the coolest fucking villain. Like, he's so cool that when they weren't allowed to use him in the Justice League series, they're like, fuck it, we're just gonna make up our own Black Manta. Fuck you. Also, must need to be said, Aquaman's got the hottest wife out of all of them. Mira. So yeah, I think Aquaman is my favorite superhero. Genuinely, unironically, I think, maybe a tad ironically, I don't know. Maybe a touch ironically. I don't. It's only ironic to the extent that I enjoy superheroes, and I really like superheroes. I've always kind of been into superheroes. I've been drawing comics since I was like 5. I had a comic. It was Mike and Sully from Monsters Inc. and they were superheroes. when I was drawing in like crayons. I've always been like really into superheroes, and I am a little put out with the MCU for making me like not care about superheroes that much anymore. I'm Thank you, James Gunn, for making me care about superheroes again. Let's talk about my Batman hot take, okay? And I mean, this is gonna bleed into a lot of other stuff when we're talking about superheroes. I think there are very few superheroes you can like genuinely do dark and gritty. Um and I mean there's some that have always been dark and gritty and kind of need to be dark and gritty. Like Spawn and Punisher both are like darker, edgier superheroes. So I get doing them like that. But you look at like the big guys from like DC and Marvel both, and it's like there are so few of these characters I think you can like genuinely do dark and gritty. Batman is one of them. Wolverine is also one of them, and I think that's other than characters designed to be dark and gritty, I think that's about where the list begins and ends. Because I feel like there's no good way to do dark gritty Superman without completely subverting the character, without just like doing a complete different take on who Superman is, right? Like The Boys or like Watchmen, I think is brilliant. Watchmen is a comic about how much Batman and Superman would suck if they were real. And that, I think, is what I really like about the Watchmen. But like, you can do the Watchmen dark. You have to do the Watchmen dark and gritty. Woo, let me get my words in the right order. You kind of gotta do the Watchmen dark and gritty. But like, that's how you do dark gritty Superman. You subvert the whole thing. You make it this whole like, Superman. He's like the big authority figure. He works for like the US government. That's like it's like a weird thing, So that's the only way you can really do dark realistic Superman. I think if you try to do the real Superman dark and realistic, it's just boring. Like it just doesn't work. It's not fun, it's not entertaining, it's not what I want from the superhero. Right? It's why I think Man of Steel is maybe the DC movie I would be the least interested in rewatching. Which is not to say it's the worst. I do think there are other worse movies based on DC comics, but a lot of those are fun, right? I would rather watch the fun failures than Man of Steel just being like completely mediocre and forgettable. I it's the one I want to rewatch. Maybe it is in stiff competition with Superman Returns, which maybe also does the character a little too seriously, but I don't know. It doesn't. That one's got its own problems. That one's got its own weird stuff going on. Like Superman Returns is clearly a mid 2000s movie, where Man of Steel is clearly a post Dark Knight movie. And I mean, here's my point about Batman and the Dark Knight. And I kind of just talked about this. I was on Spiney's TV show movies recently to talk about Batman 66 and like the versions of dark gritty Batman I do and don't like. And I'm like, we already have the Dark Knight. You're not topping the Dark Knight. I feel like the ceiling on dark gritty Batman is a lot higher. You can make the Dark Knight. You can make the Batman when you do dark gritty Batman. But the floor is a lot lower. Dark Knight Rises, terrible. Batman v Superman, also not very fun. And it's like, if you just do fun Batman, Fun Batman, sure, you're not gonna get the Dark Knight out of Fun Batman. The best you're gonna get is like the Tim Burton Batman, which I love. I love the Tim Burton Batman. I wish we were all aiming to make the Tim Burton Batman instead of trying to make the Dark Knight again. Try to make the Tim Burton Batman again, because if you fail at doing that, the worst you're gonna get is Batman and Robin, which is an extremely rewatchable movie. I have rewatched Batman and Robin many, many times because it is such an entertaining film. It is not a good film, not by any means, but it is fun as hell. Which is more than I can say for The Dark Knight Rises or Man of Steel or Zack Snyder's Justice League. I did finally watch that fuck-ass Justice League movie. This is how I knew the DCEU was a failure, is because the Justice League movie was supposed to be their big, like, tentpole Avengers thing, and the only guy I knew who saw it was, like, one of my friends who was really into DC Comics, so I'm like, yeah, if that's the only guy who's seen this, then, like, you failed to make the Avengers. Everyone saw the Avengers, you know? It was hard to miss the Avengers. It was extremely easy to miss the Justice League. I have not watched the Snyder Cut. From what I've heard, everyone who goes into the Snyder Cut first says it's a bad movie, but everyone who starts with the original Justice League is like, well, it was better than the original Justice League. You can really tell which parts of that movie were the work of Joss Whedon and which parts of that were the work of Zack Snyder. It's weird that we as a culture have come out liking Zack Snyder just a little bit more, isn't it? I don't think Snyder or Whedon are especially talented at what they do, but I definitely think Whedon is better at dialogue than Snyder, and I definitely think Snyder is better at action than Whedon, and I think they are playing into their slightly stronger suits in that movie. Like Whedon is, most of the writing is Whedon's, most of the action is Snyder's. And that's, if those are the two guys you're gonna go with, how it should be. Frankly, I don't think I would let either of those guys make a Justice League movie, but I'm also not in charge of Warner Brothers. I'd be doing a better job. Warner Brothers would be a better company right now if I were in charge. I'm not saying it would be a profitable company. It would almost certainly not be a profitable company. But it would be an artistically viable company. Which it isn't really right now. I mean, I guess I could talk about the rest of the DCEU. The Aquaman movies are fun. They're not great, but they're pretty fun. They're kind of like fun bad. I mean, I'll give Aquaman 2 this. I'll give Aquaman Lost Kingdom this. It's got better action than like 90% of the MCU. Like that final, that like climatic fight with Black Manta clears 90% of the MCU. Maybe more than 90% of the MCU. That is like a really good fight scene. It's because it's all practical and there's no fucking CG that looks terrible. Also, that scene is just in a cave with like blatantly fake snow. It's like a weirdly cheap set for a big Hollywood picture. Wonder Woman 1 was fine. I've heard the sequel is bad. I've never watched it. I gotta drunk tweet the Flash movie soon. That's been on my to drunk tweet list for a while. I didn't hate the Suicide Squad. I didn't hate Suicide Squad as much as a lot of people did, but it was still not a particularly good movie. And then The Suicide Squad came out, and it is just so much better. So, it does everything Suicide Squad does, but better in every single way. Real shocker that they let James Gunn take over this franchise when he's like the only one making interesting comic book movies anymore. Okay, I liked the Batman. We'll give Matt Reeves a pass, but other than him, Shazam was fine. Somehow it lost all of its steam. This is a weird thing. Like I feel like there were movies from before Avengers Endgame that people really loved that then got sequels after Endgame, and everyone's just like, nah, we're kind of done with that shit now. Like, it happened to Thor Love and Thunder, and it happened to Shazam 2. Oh, I also haven't seen the Joker sequel. I heard it was fucking batshit, actually. Um, not sure if it's good batshit or bad batshit, but we'll fucking see. I like the Tim Burton Batman. I like the Tim Burton Batman a lot. Um, I think we should be trying to make more movies like the Tim Burton I think that like the Tim Burton Batman really understands how to adapt the tone of a comic book into the medium of film, right? I think something like, Spider-Verse has obviously done a better job capturing the comic book feel because it's animated, so it can get away with a little more in that regard. Because you look at, like, the Ang Lee Hulk movie, and I think that is a respectable failure. I respect that he was trying something different with that movie, but it is a failure. It is not a very good movie. That one might end up on Hollow Victories, actually. I look forward to that being on Hollow Victories. I'm out of soda. I feel like I might have wanted to say more. I have some other thoughts and opinions, but I don't know, the soda's gone. Maybe I should be wrapping this one up. I have been watching a lot of the old DC TV shows in the wake of caring more about DC. I recorded something about Challenge of the Super Friends that I was gonna make a short, but it's like too long to be a short. I'm probably going to upload extended versions of a lot of my shorts and just include that as like a bonus. Hey, this one was too long to be a short, so here's the only place you get to see that. That will be exclusively here on Matt to the Mattening. So be sure to hang around here. But I've been watching Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, that Justice League show I missed out on as a kid. Also I've watched The Batman, which is kind of a mixed bag as a show. There's stuff I really like about that show, and then there's stuff I'm like, this needed more time in the oven. I don't like Bruce Wayne's design in that show. I don't like the way Bruce Wayne looked. Batman looks fine. Bruce Wayne looks weird. But on the other hand, that is the show that gave us Black Joker. Something I didn't know I needed until they gave it to me. Until I saw the Batman, I didn't know I needed Black Joker in my life. That's a character we could talk about. I love the fucking Joker. Oh, and Batman Brave and the Bold. I really like Batman the Brave and the Bold. Like, I am 100% on Batman Brave and the Bold's wavelength. That show is amazing. I am big recommendation for Batman Brave and the Bold. What else did I watch? I watched that fuck-ass Birds of Prey show from 2003. Oh, I only watched one episode. I watched the episode with Clayface in it. But, like, what the fuck? What a weird show. I don't know, like, DC is insane because there'll be, like, a show that ran for 3 years that you never heard of. Like, there was a Black Thunder show that ran, like, 3 seasons. And I'm like, when? Fucking when was there a Black Thunder show? I didn't know about this. I have not gotten into any of the CW shows. I have not yet started watching any of the CW shows. Ooh, I'm a little scared of that. Alright, I think we need to wrap up here, but to finish us off, we're gonna talk about the contrast between the Joker and Lex Luthor. How they're like such, like they're the main villains for the two biggest superheroes of all time, but certainly in the DC catalog. And already, like, Superman and Batman, they have their contrast. There are big differences between Batman and Superman. But the contrast, I think, is even more stark with their main villains. Because Lex Luthor is not like a superhero villain, he's a real life villain, right? Lex Luthor, he doesn't have like a villain costume or a villain name or a villain gimmick. He's just a rich guy. He's just a rich guy doing shitty things. He's a millionaire, a billionaire in most versions now, actually. You know, deep into tech, deep into military stuff, uh, and like motivated to fight Superman through some sort of like anti-superhero, anti-alien racism, right? This is a real life villain. This is Lex Luthor. This is not like what you would really expect, like, the superhero's main villain to be. You would expect the superhero to have the supervillain to face off against, but no, he has the real life villain, the type of bad guy we see in the real world so often, which is kind of nuts. And on the other hand, you have the Joker, who I think is this like perfect, like, fictionalized villain. It's what we want to think of as a villain in our head. This guy who just does evil for fun. He is not motivated by petty things like money or ideology. He just wants to have, he just does evil for fun, right? He enjoys doing evil. It's what I think we'd like to imagine ourselves as being like if we were villains. Like, someday we're gonna snap and we're just gonna do evil shit for fun. And that's, I think, a bizarre contrast between the supervillains of the two main heroes. There's a great contrast there. So yeah, I like DC Comics a lot. Um, have a nice day, everyone.